Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 13th April 2021. In this video, we'll be dealing with this couple of issues. Not on the same page at sea. This article is about the recent controversy with respect to US trying to exert its freedom of navigation operations in the Indian Exclusive Economic Zone region, 130 nautical miles to the west of Lakshadweep. So, is this a normal scenario or is this a provocation as envisaged by a lot of foreign policy experts? In this article, we shall try to understand what exactly is the scenario here. Now, before getting into the details of this article, we have to understand the classification of maritime zones as per UN clause or UN laws of seas. Now, USA says that it did not violate the rights of our country in our exclusive economic zone. Rather, it is just exerting its navigational freedom in tandem with the law laid down internationally. However, India interprets the international law differently. What is that international law is what we are going to see now. UNCLOS, UN clause. Now, you know that if you divide the entire section of the ocean, there are various zones. Now, if you take this classification, as you can see in the case of the norms laid down by UN clause, we can see that from the baseline till 200 nautical miles, it is considered to be an exclusive territory of India. So naturally, when there was no prior consent taken by the US Navy for moving through this zone, because we are talking about an area where 130 nautical miles from the shore of Lakshadweep. So if imagine this is the baseline, the US ship was somewhere in this region. So definitely India believes that according to the exclusive economic zone and other zones of India Act 1976, which was designed in tandem with the UN clause, USA was supposed to take the permission of Indian side to move to that area. But the author of this article believes that this miscommunication between the Indian and US side is not a sign of provocation from US, but rather a miscommunication. The reason why the author says that this is a miscommunication is because the entire controversy is with respect to the interpretation of this UNCLOS. Now, on one end of the spectrum, we have the US Navy, which says that India cannot claim that it should require consent for moving through its exclusive economic zone, because UN clause has actually ensured navigational freedom for different players moving through the exclusive economic zones of different coastal states. Say, for example, through the interpretation of this law by the US Navy, they had every right to just move through that exclusive economic zone without causing any harm. But India feels that it is a threat to its sovereignty, as laid down even in the Exclusive Economic Zone and Other Maritime Zones of India Act of 1976. So this is what the controversy has always been about. But what is the real concern, given the fact that we are witnessing a phase where India and US relations are said to be at an all-time high? The real concern for New Delhi is the possibility of Chinese presence in international waters. Now, if we give a leeway to US, what if China also comes up with a similar explanation and starts navigating through our international waters or exclusive economic zone of India, rather, on the pretext that it is just using its rights of navigation as given by UNCLOS. So this is the larger concern for India. Now, USA has also been using this concept of freedom of navigation and operational procedures, FONOP as it calls. US Navy uses this concept to contain the aggression of China in the South China Sea region. This is the real concern here for US. Now, the problem that we have to understand here is, on one hand, India and US are on the same page with respect to containing China in the South China Sea region. Similarly, when there are discrepancies about the interpretation of the law in the exclusive economic zone of the Indian side, there have been certain tensions because, unlike China, India did not occupy others' territories. Therefore, instead of actually picking up Andaman and Nicobar region, which is considered to be much more important strategically for India, given the fact that we have our armed forces base here, the first tri-service command in India is located in Andaman. So that would be strategically more controversial if US had actually moved their ships in this region rather than that of the west coast near Lakshadweep. So this is a smart choice according to the author. So what are the lessons that we have to understand here? So the key takeaway from the fact is, we have to make our laws in sync with the international laws. So according to the view of the author, there are a lot of discrepancies with respect to how we conceptualize our exclusive economic zones. So the author believes that they are completely out of sync with the international law. So we have to correct this in order to ensure smooth operational communication between friends and allies like that of US. So this is the gist of this article. The second article on refugees and illegal immigrants, how India's stance changed with circumstance is with respect to India's refugee policy that deals with refugees from case to case. Recently, there has been an influx of illegal migrants into India, and we're talking about the situation of Myanmar. The Myanmar coup and the subsequent crackdown in Myanmar has forced illegal migrants into India. And the current plight of Myanmaris has been preceded by that of another group of Myanmaris who were called Rohingyas. So this problem of refugees has historically been a issue of contention because India has consistently witnessed an inflow of refugees from many neighboring countries. The refugee issue poses a problem for the state as it puts economic burden. But we have to understand that refugee issue, after all, is a human rights component. Here we have to understand that India lacks any specific legislation to address the problems of these refugees in spite of their increasing flow. For example, there is of course the 1946 Foreigners Act. However, there are a lot of criticisms with respect to this act because it fails to address the peculiar problems faced by refugees together as a class. It is also giving the central government uncontrolled powers to deport any foreign citizen. So it is in this context we have had the controversy surrounding the Citizenship Amendment Act in 2019, which has strikingly excluded Muslims from its purview and seeks to provide citizenship to a specific set of people from Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan. That is Hindus, Christians, Jains, Parsis, Sikhs and Buddhist immigrants who were persecuted in these countries. In fact, the Citizenship Amendment Act is actually the closest that we came towards a refugee policy. So in this, even this particular policy has been criticized bitterly because of its exclusion of certain section of people based on their religion. So this is an issue that has been around for as long as our independence movement, and in the entire history, if we witness after the post-independent scenario, throughout the post-independent history we have seen issues with respect to refugees, and India did not sign the 1951 UN Convention in order to have a scenario where there is certain autonomy. So in this scenario we have to understand a principle called non-refoulement, which says that we cannot deport refugees seeking shelter due to the fear of persecution forcibly. That is the case with respect to Rohingyas as well. But the Supreme Court has directed that we can move ahead and pursue action against Rohingyas as per the 1946 Foreigners Act because it is a threat to the internal security of our country. And it is very clear that India has specific policy for different set of refugees depending on its evaluation of the particular group which is entering into our country as a threat to the internal security of our country. To quote this point, we have a scenario where there are a lot of Tamilian refugees who came into India after the LTTE crisis and the civil war that ensued in 2009. So this is the gist of this article with respect to India's stance on refugees.